Hello and welcome to Crafty Learns Programming in Java. So today we're going to look at a little thing that's involved in what you call object-oriented programming, the OOPS, and it's a bit about inheritance. So we're going to look at the thing about extending classes. So it sounds a bit weird, but it's actually quite simple. It's quite logic as well, which is good. That's what I like when it's logical. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a class, just a basic class, nothing, and it's just going to do it fairly general. Physical object. That's what we're going to call it. Okay. So this is just going to be a quick class, and it's going to hopefully open it up. Yes, look, let's open it up, and we're going to put some general properties. So we're going to think of like physical objects as like blocks. Everything's a block, so it has, for example, private. I'm going to use it, we're going to make it private. I'm doing this on a laptop, which I'm not used to, so be patient with me, please. So everything, for example, has a let's say a double and weight. Okay, so that's one thing. So each object also has dimensions. So private double height. That sounds good. Does that not sound good? I hope so. And to not constantly repeat myself typing. I'm a fan of shortcuts. So private double width and private double let's say length, so we're in 3 dimensions. Okay, let's think, what else can we do? We'll put a private boolean, and not like that, of course. That's what you get when you hit a mouse pad. Stupid thing. Private boolean, and we're going to call it say has parts, for example. Some objects don't have parts. We could do another boolean. Private boolean is organic, for example, like an apple. So it might not be. So this is a physical object. Oh, we didn't get boolean written in there. Oh, don't you love Eclipse? Just slams it in your face. You've got a mistake. Can we think of? Well, that's good for now, I think, because we just need a class. And what we're going to do is, if you remember, we can do the getters and setters. Now, where was it? In source, generate getters and setters. So we're going to click everything here. Okay. And we're going to put them there, so they're going to boom. And if you remember, there's make it a bit thingy. Now we could put a constructor in. So I don't know if we showed you this time, but also you can put constructors, which is very easy. So we're just going to put a simple one without let's say one with weight first. And we're going to do it after is organic. Okay, so we're going to put it there. And don't worry about the super, you don't need it, but we'll leave it there. Super just means it's a super class. It takes us from the super, which is, I think it's object, but we'll go into more of that in detail another point. Now I could put another constructor, which has the weight. Let's say we just do that, and then we'll do a third constructor with everything. So let's create this Eclipse, and we'll do that. Okay, so there you go. Oh, that's a long one. So we've got a basic class here, and that's fine. It tells us it's about a physical object. Well, what we want to do, so we're going to think of a physical object. So I'm going to think of let's think of a simple physical object in the world, which would be, I'm just thinking of a simple one, and I can't think of anything. Oh, well, for example, we'll make a new class, and we'll call it tree. Okay. Actually, I want to show you something there, so we'll just delete that and do it again, because there's a little thing. Come on, new class, called, so we're going to call that 3. Now if you see here, superclass. Now every class in Java originates from this, and this is what we're doing, so we'll explain it, but I just want you to have that in mind, okay, about this thing called a superclass. Now a tree is a physical object, okay, but I don't want to sit and write out all these things like the length and the weight. Imagine these are like blocky things, you know, obviously they're not, but you know, I don't want to write all this out again, because it's just stupid. Why would I have to write all this out again for every time I do something? So what you do in Java is a little thing called inheritance. Basically, it means, I would say, like absorbing this physical object class. So if I put extends, and this is you see how it's an orange word? It means it's a reserved word. You cannot use it except for this. So I'm going to do physical object. Okay, and we're going to add it wants a constructor, so we can, well, actually we can just do a quick constructor here, so you don't have to do it, because I put constructors there. Let's just do a one without parameters. Get back. So we want a couple of this and a couple of these. Not that, because that's French thingy. And we'll save that. And save this. And look, it's gone away. So, now I've got this. I've got access to all of these. So, for example, if I wanted to do, well, get in the proper place. Now if you look, that was control and space I pressed. You've got access, if you see, look, is organic. All these methods that we set up in the other one. Now I don't have access to the actual thingies, but if I say public int number of parts, num of parts, that's if it has it. No, hey. And we'll just do a quick getter and setter for that. No, we don't need to. This is the thing. Now if I do save this again, save that object. You've got to save everything. Don't forget to save. Save. Okay, so we've got that thing. So if I want to use that, for example, let's just do a temporary variable, numparts, and I want it to be the same. I hate it when it does that. It's so annoying. This, we're going to use that, and our number of parts, it's equal to that. So if we set a number of parts, and then it's equal to the same one as it is in here. So imagine that, but generally you wouldn't put that, so we would make that private, and we would get this. If we save it, we get it error because it says change visibility. So I'm going to take that off. I just wanted you to see, and we'll do it, for example, getter and setter for that one. So number of parts, blah blah blah. We must stick it after this one just because we can, and we'll save it. Now for this one, what do we mean by extending? What we mean by extending is that we can use everything in here. We'll save that as well. Everything that is written here, all these methods that we use, which are just basic methods, we can use here. So if I want, let's say we'll do what do you call it? A constructor. Public tree. Okay, little constructor without the Garçon symbol, right? And I could just, if I want to say set, now I have the thing set set organic, so I know this is true, you see. So I've used that method from there, so anytime I call this, it's going to be true that it's an organic organic object. Now you can, for example, set height, so it could be, if we're talking meters, say 12 meters. Let's get rid of that, 12 for example. Set, and I was pressing control, control and space to get this. Set width, click on it, come on, and that can be say 3 because it's not very big, and the length, set length, and that would be 2, say that, just because it's not that big. So we've added some things. Now we can actually add methods. So for example, we can add variables, so we can say private int number, private int private string, for example, and species. Oh, it's gonna kill me, this laptop, sorry. Private string and species. Okay, and do that. So that's just it's only to the tree, you know. For example, we could do a class that stands physical object, instead of saying tree, which we can get rid of. No, I don't want to save them because I'm going to delete it, or I'm going to do a new class. For example, if I want to make it more generic, I can say organic object, and it's just gone funny again. Still have to get those typing lessons. Organic object, okay, and we can extend the physical, so it takes all that thing. I mean, we probably wouldn't need this as organic, you know, but we can extend that, and we can say we can add all the things for organic. For example, I don't know, is like a boolean is tree is plant, or a boolean is animal. Anyway, and maybe a boolean. I'll make these private, I would, but was it plant? Plant is animal. Things like that. I spelled boolean wrong. So you can add things like that, and then you can extend that. So for example, we go back to our tree, and instead of extending physical object, yes, organic object, right? And if we look at what's been added, we have got all the things in there. Okay, we've got all the things from the physical object, and we have to, let's do some, quickly do a couple of getters and setters. Oh, I love you, Eclipse. Select all. Okay. Fantastic. Save that. So for example, we're going to do a public tree again. And if we look at our methods we've got, oh look, we've got is animal, is plant, because but it comes in there because but we have the also the set animal, boolean is animal. So this, so if we do this, we know it's false. And if we do control space, remember control space, set organic, we know that's true, so we click on true. So this, when we make the object, we know it's not an animal, it's going to be organic. And we can set weight, you know, to be, I don't know, 500 kilos for example, depends what you're doing it in. And so you're using all the methods, and then after that you can go outside and you can add extra things like has public, well no, let's do it, let's do it better because of that. Private, oh, why does it do that? Stop doing that, you stupid bloody thing. Private int number of, I don't know, seeds for example. Okay, so we've got it there. We'll do a little quick getter and setter, of course. Click that on, put that on. Now we've got there, int get them. Let's see. Well, we have to put these. I'm a bit anal. I have to put them after the. So we can do that, and then we can create another class. So we just create another class, and we call it oak. It's an oak tree. Now oak is going to extend tree. Yay, if we can. There we go. And when we look at all the options, we have all of these, plus we've got this set number of seeds and the get number of seeds that we put in the tree. So what you have to do with each object, this is the more general, it gets more specific, and more specific. And there might be varieties of oak, for example, and I don't know because my knowledge of trees is pretty poor. But you see how it goes from a physical object to an organic object to a tree to an oak. So we've each one, apart from this one, we've extended the previous object, which means incorporate. Basically, we've incorporated, and it makes things clean. Imagine you had to write all this in just this class. You would be filling up things, and then you have to do another for a beech tree or something. You have to write all that again. Oh, it would be horrible. So what this does is it lets you they say inherit, but inherit is like saying it's giving it to you. I think I like to say, I don't know, incorporates, absorbs, you know, uses, things like that. These words, when they use these words, this jargon, it makes it confusing, you know. So they call it inheritance. It's not inheritance is like goes from one to the other. This is always being used, you know. So it's incorporating, assimilating, and that's what it's good about it. So a physical object is assimilated or incorporated into the organic object. The tree incorporates the organic object and the physical object, and the oak incorporates all previous three. And we can add in things. So at our fingertips we've got all these methods that we can use just because of extending or incorporating all these past classes that we've used. So we've got and it makes it cleaner. So for example, we could put lots more in here, but only specific to trees. We could put more things specific to organic objects. You have to be a bit of a biologist for that, but you can see the use of it. And I better save that. And so it goes from, generally we go from more general to more specific. So the oak, and then you could have, for example, I don't know, it might be an English oak or a Canadian oak. I don't know. I don't know oak trees. Oh, terrible, isn't it? And we do it like that. So that's the bit about extending classes. Now you just have to think from general to more specific to more specific to even more specific. And the good thing is you can extend classes from the packages as well. Okay, so you got the Java packages. You can extend these classes that they make. So if I wanted to extend, for example, the Boolean class there, I could extend that quite easily. Or is there not a better class? String class, for example, if I wanted to add more string methods, I could extend string, which maybe let's see if they do that. I don't know. No, maybe not. Well, this one extends something, yes. So that's how they do it. So hopefully this isn't too I've made it the simplest possible thing. Just, I think you've always got to go from very general to very specific. And the one thing that Java cannot do is it cannot extend more than one class. That's the only thing. I think in other languages sometimes you can put different classes, extend more than one, but in Java you can only extend one, which sounds reasonable to me, because if you don't, you get it's like following a tree diagram, like oh well, there you go, a tree and the branches of the tree. You see, you have the root, which would be this, then you go up into the big thick trees, which is this, then into one branch of a tree, then into the several branches that go off from the tree. So I hope that wasn't long-winded. So that's extending the class, and we're going to look into more about this inheritance in the further lessons, but hopefully you've got enough by now. So you're okay. Hope it hasn't been too difficult, and take care. See you in the next one. Toodaloo.